Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 285, I think?
Yes, it says 285.
Yep, 285.
I made sure the numbers were
Cool,
correct.
yeah.
Lucifer made sure that they were correct.
I was so distracted by your kitty helping me with the notes that
Yes, it was very
things
helpful.
happen. Anyway.
Also, Janice here.
Hi, Jana.
Hi.
It has been a minute since...
The museum's released me.
For today or permanently?
For today.
Okay,
Oh,
thank
God, no. I'd be much more distraught if it was permanent.
I had to ask the question to follow up, so I'm glad it's temporary.
My supervisor gave a 2 weeks notice.
Oh.
Not my direct supervisor, but so we're now one supervisor short for the month of May, which is our busiest month between school season and wedding season. So
That sounds great.
it's great. We're doing great.
Everything's
Our
fine.
union contract
This is fine.
was ratified and went into action on May 1st, so it was a very happy May Day for us.
May the
But we
first
found
to be
out
with you.
that it's already been broken by one of the sites.
Great. May as well have a contract if it's just going to get
Yep.
completely ignored and voided.
Yep, so at least
This
we have
is why
it.
you have a union.
Yep, because it was like our
Because
sites.
now, instead of just quitting, you can
have
strike.
recourse? Good.
Yeah.
Yep,
Very
so
good. Very
we
fun.
get to go reinforce and be super spies and be like, hey, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? 'Cause
The answer is no. The answer is always no.
yeah, but it gives us more to talk about because our museum's actually very focused on the union history of Minnesota because the unfortunate Citizens Alliance was started by our mill owner. So
Citizens Alliance was a anti-union union.
Was it called Citizens Alliance or Unfortunate Citizens Alliance?
Citizens Alliance.
Oh,
yeah.
Unfortunate
However,
Citizens
that
Alliance.
That needs to be a punk band.
No, but
Sounds so good.
also, Unfortunate Citizens Alliance is totally like something that a 19th century anti-union union would be called.
It sounds like something that would have printing
An
press
alliance
literature.
of,
in
yeah,
a
an
small
alliance
pamphlet.
of unfortunate
Yep.
citizens.
So
yes,
we get to
for the
we even
poors.
have a tour set up about union history. So it's really exciting to be able to talk about that history while
and
being
apply
in
it
a
to
union.
present day
Yeah,
issues happening at the actual venue.
exactly.
So, what's the importance of a union? Well, you see, sometimes if you're an employer in a modern day context,
We'll use the mill for an example.
well, for an example, an employer may not allow you to check emails while you are on the clock, though those emails are required for you to work and will take several hours of your time to check in your own spare time. But you're not going to get paid for it, and you need to do it before you can go to work.
That's like an employer trying to tell you that you
And
have
that's
to punch
why-
out for a restroom break.
Yes, it's just like that. Nope, that's not how it's
Or
supposed to be.
That's
getting a 15-minute break and your lunch taken away when you work 8 hours.
2 15s when they try to make you punch out for those too. Yeah. Anyway, we won't get into that necessarily, but
Oh, we have successfully gotten into it.
well,
We're a pro-union podcast.
Patreon.com/Carbitrage. On this super custom crafted website, you'll find 3 open-ended levels of monetary support for content consumers like you to support content producers like us, starting at just $1 a month. Patreon.com/Carbitrage.
You know, starting at episode 286, we'll just talk about the IRA and then.
Oh, God. You're breaking up, going through a tunnel.
I have a root beer that I'm finishing, and
Very
then I'll
good.
start
I
drinking a
have a
hams.
finished root
Hams, and
beer.
I have
Here, you
a
can have the rest.
I have a Coor Light.
I have a hams.
Hammy. I think that I got to get more from the other unit. I think
You
that's
do.
the last one in here. Sorry. We still have the old styles that you brought, but
Good. I'll have an old style for next episode.
very, very fine. Okay. All right. So getting right into topics, because why not? I want to pivot. So our entire Patreon backstory essentially starts with Scott, our
Yeah.
oldest patron, who has lemoned out, well, I think only one so far, but will be 2
Yeah.
before probably the end of next year. EVs.
Yes.
New cars, first model year stuff. There were a lot of recalls, even on combustion vehicles, but like you add Volkswagen into the equation and you add electrification into the
Yeah.
equation, and it seems like recalls just continue to happen like crazy. But I want to go back to our whipping boy of an EV company, which is Tesla.
The worst company.
It is the worst company, and boy howdy, they have models now that are, I want to say the Model Y. Why isn't that working? Why isn't that working?
Why?
Model Y's probably been in production for 4 or 5 years now, would you say?
No.
Sorry, I'm trying to actually get my cursor over here. 'Cause the Stream
I'm
Deck is
going to
broken.
buy you a mouse next time I'm at Free Geek, and you can have a mouse.
I don't have any more USB ports, so that's not going to work.
I'll get you a mouse keyboard combo.
Okay. Anyway.
Well, those keyboards that have a mouse that connects to a
That's what he
USB port
has.
in the keyboard. Yeah, but that trackpad doesn't
Oh.
work ever.
Yeah,
I get to watch him struggle all the time. It's awful.
Normally the Stream Deck works really well, but that thing has completely fucked off. So
Okay.
anyway, this model, which has been in production for years, all of the problems should have been ironed out by now.
Yeah.
Not even
What's new?
close. It's not what's new right now. It's how these were voted in a recent survey. Yes. They are projected to have over 100 more recalls
No.
in the next 10 years.
That's bad.
They were voted number one, and Tesla as a company was voted number one most likely to have the highest number of recalls
That's
of
really
any
bad.
auto manufacturer in the United States. So,
Can I move my webcam?
Oh.
I guess.
yeah.
Oh no, it's fine now. It's just in that other view. It was weird.
Yeah.
Because I'm just in the very small corner. Well, at least Jana's on
You're in a small
camera.
corner, right?
Anyway, carry on.
So,
Carry on.
combining the current, past, and future projected recalls, the Model Y specifically will have 60 recalls before it exits its life cycle.
That sounds, and also it's Tesla. I quickly see Tesla running out of money to design new cars and having like a Mitsubishi thing where they make a vehicle for like 20 years longer than they expect to. So yeah, I imagine this will just have 1,000 recalls.
Well, they're not selling any cars now because nobody's buying anything
Yeah.
because we're in a recession. Also, they don't get the tax
They
credit
haven't
like a lot of
said
other ones.
it's a recession yet. Don't tell them.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you have to wait for Kai Rizdal to call it a recession, and then you can call it a recession. If you call it a recession before, then it might get worse because people get scared. So you can't say it's a recession. It is a economic. Oh, what did he call? Agita.
I'm sorry. I gotta ask, what the hell is that?
Agita?
Yeah. While you look that up, I will say, in addition to the Model Y recalls, I just got another recall notice for my 7-year-old Model S for something that's already been fixed before, too. I like the funky Jeopardy music.
It's
The meaning of
the waiting
agita
music.
is a feeling of agitation or anxiety.
Economic
Economic
anxiety.
Weird, because when people have economic anxiety and they don't spend money, typically...
It leads to, but you can't say that until it happens. 'cause
It's a
it might
spooky
get worse.
ghost.
It might
Well,
get worse.
I'll try not to
hamburger
use
time.
the
we call it hamburger time. It's economic hamburger time.
I will try to refrain from using the hard R.
Yes, hamburger time. So, economic hamburger time.
A spree session.
It is a hamburger time.
Hamburger time.
Yep. That was from the episode of Metalocalypse where they were afraid that they were going to die and they were all getting scared of their own mortality. So they requested that their manager call death hamburger time to make them feel better when referencing that they
I
might
mean,
die. And
that's
so he calls it
not a
hamburger
Were
terrible
time.
they
idea.
trying to figure out their financials? Yeah. Okay. Remember
Bing
that
bang
episode.
boom hamburger time.
Metalocalypse was a pretty good show, but the subject matter, when they weren't just talking, was so...
It was about heavy metal. I
I know,
liked
which
it.
I don't like.
Yeah, but I do.
But all of the dialogue was so on
It
point
was a
in
great
that show.
show. Yeah, it's
I
a
just
great
need
show.
somebody to edit out and just put EDM in the background
So yeah,
of
you
those
would
shows.
like
No.
Adventure Time, and
Yeah.
you need to watch it.
Adventure Time's very similar.
It's a goofier.
It's on my calendar to download it now, so I
Anyway.
will do it. I'm also really not looking forward to not having a working stream.
So, who is the gas engine equivalent of Tesla for just general unreliability?
Is it any German manufacturer that makes
No.
a 2.0T?
No, but they are because Germans you expect to have problems because Volkswagen exists. But just a company that has an unduly positive reputation, a bunch of fanboys that will buy their
Do
garbage no matter
lesbians
what
like
they
to
do.
drive this car?
Oh god, it's a Subaru,
And-
isn't it?
yes, Subaru. I'm going to talk about my bad Subaru.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you know, but objectively, the worst car is the
They
1986 Subaru GL10.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard. I've heard
the
stories.
Digi
Doesn't
dash.
GL10 mean turbo or no?
No, the GL
What's the difference
is
between the Loyal and the GL10?
well, the
Very
GL,
little.
honey, the GL There's actually a big difference. The GL is the normal, like, mid-trim level.
Okay.
And then the DL, which is a lower trim level. And the GL10 was the high-spec version of the high trim level. So the GL10 was the performance version. That was the that was the EA era equivalent of a WRX.
But you could get it without a turbo.
No.
Oh.
It was only turbo.
Okay.
So the GL10 was the turbo model.
Right.
So I have a turbocharged 1986 Subaru.
I've even seen it move once.
Yeah, so if you like think a EJ is bad, no, EJ is fucking great by comparison.
Compared to an
it
EA?
is the only vehicle in the world where people literally go find 2001 Foresters with 90,000 miles, put the engine in for improved reliability.
But yeah, so when an EJ25D is a much more reliable engine,
Yeah, vastly.
you
yeah.
have
It broke down on the
really
way to my
big
grandma's
problems.
funeral.
But anyway, so
remember that.
yeah, I put a new engine into it because somebody looked at that engine and said, I'm going to put that into an airplane. And then their wife divorced them and he had to sell it. So I have a airplane prepared GL10 engine.
I do not want to be anywhere near an aircraft that has a Subaru engine.
This
in it.
is a common thing.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, a lot of people put this engine into airplanes. I
A
don't
lot
know.
of involuntary gliders, okay?
Yep. It's horrifying.
How would those ever get FAA certification?
I actually said to
approval?
the guy, I said, there's so many engines in the world. Why did you choose this one?
That is, yeah, I cannot think.
And he said like
But
something
maybe
along
like
the
a
lines.
2.0 TSI, but
No, I would take a 2.0 TSI over this.
oh,
Because
wow.
this only makes like 100 horsepower.
Yeah.
So
okay.
like you're gonna be like at stall speed unless you have the world's smoothest buttery cock-shaped airplane you've ever seen in your life. Like at least a 2.0T, you can get out of stall speed before it breaks down.
Okay.
This one it breaks down. You're 5 miles an hour within.
So what you're
stall.
saying is, since every airport, for some reason, has a ton of trees and forests right after the end of a runway,
Yes.
the 2.0 TSI will get you maybe past those trees,
Yeah,
where
into
the
a field.
Subaru engine one will
No,
just shove you into the trees.
You remember when we were in that airplane thing and Brainerd, and there's that guy with a home built airplane, and he caught a headwind and he just stood there.
I do.
That's literally the kind of airplane that people put these engines into. So anyway,
Like
terrifying.
ultralight.
yeah,
I refused to get out of the car to meet this guy because I was like, that's a madman.
no, that's not any.
It's not a healthy person.
Yeah, this isn't a healthy. His wife divorced him. That's why. But anyway, so I have a Subaru GL10 engine, specifically a Subaru GL10 engine that is going into the most cursed of all GL10 models because every single year was different with their wiring harnesses because this is the era when they were like changing emission stuff. And then on top of that, this was a automatic car
With a
and a
digidash,
digital
right?
dashboard car. Now,
Does
nobody
that also change the wiring harness?
Yes.
Good.
Both of those do.
Good. Good.
And so
Good.
the
Good.
GL10 nobody bought. And then nobody opted to put the automatic in because it was more expensive. And then really, all those automatic buyers, even fewer of them opted for the digital dashboard.
So there's a lot of
Further
parts.
Yeah, there's
So many.
many parts readily available everywhere. It's just like a small block Chevy. And so also 1 year only, mind you.
Oh, great! Great. This is
Yes.
like a 6 Series, but made by Subaru.
This is a 6 Series, but you need to describe to somebody what a 6 Series is and who made it.
Oh no.
Like, imagine
like
if a Zuzu made a 6 Series, but poorly.
Oh
That's-
my god. A
that-
knockdown E24 made by a Suzu.
It's a Zuzu would actually make it better, but one of those things where you have to explain to them, like, all right, so they did make cars. Like, when I say I have a 1986 Subaru GL10, they go,
Yeah.
a what? I have to go. It was like the predecessor to the Impreza, and they go, oh, I thought they just came here with the Impreza. I'm like, no, they
They were here for a long time.
No, they came here in the 50s. They've been around since the 50s, and they like made these like weird boxer cars beforehand in the 60s and
They
70s
didn't
and
probably-
80s.
Subaru
designing them.
360 has more notoriety than your GL10.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
So the problem is fine. Like when you have to describe the car to somebody before you can get a part for it, that's how you know it's a red flag. Anyway, so I have this awful vehicle. I found somebody in the Pacific Northwest who had a 1986 Subaru GL10 Digi-Dash automatic wagon that he was parting out. And mine has a corroded engine wiring harness, which is very bad.
Sorry, I'm still
Yeah.
jaw dropped at the fact you
It
found
was
one of these.
even the
cars.
same color. It was the.
I bet they're one VIN apart.
I honestly think I thought the guy had stolen my car. I'm like, what?
You're like, I should call
If
Lily to
it
make sure
wasn't
the car's
if it
still in
wasn't
the
for
garage.
the if it wasn't for like the modifications on my car, like they were
Yeah.
that close in spec.
Gee.
And so like
Wonder why it's being parted out.
yeah. And so anyway,
Strange.
I got the wiring harness for it, which
Okay.
mine is corroded and all green. And it like so the engine turns over, I get spark, I have fuel, I have compression. Doesn't start.
But those are
This is how I checked. This is how I checked all these things. So I pulled the hose off the fuel injector.
Yeah.
I had Miguel hold it. I still have it at the house with Miguel. I
Okay.
say, tell me if you get sprayed in the face with gas. Turn the car over. Wet face Miguel goes, yep, got sprayed in the face with gas. This works.
so you had the hose off or you had the injector off?
And then hose off of the injector.
What? So the
And then
injector's not firing.
then I go, okay, well, then it's the injectors. So they're brand new injectors. They're
Sure.
300ZX injectors because they make it run a little bit more rich and make it more reliable. Fun fact: if you ever need a fuel injector for a 1986 Subaru, turbo multi-point fuel injection, not throttle body injection, because you could get carbureted throttle body and multi-point fuel injection.
Those must be low impedance injectors too.
Yeah, they're the exact same injector as a
Z31?
as a C31.
Yeah.
Except they are lower flow rate. So if you put in the exact same Z31 injector, it makes it run a little bit more rich.
Yeah.
And it actually lowers the exhaust gas temperature and makes the engine a lot more reliable. Like
Well, a lot less unreliable.
It makes it like a lot of the problems with like cracking cylinder heads, which they do at all times, they are just
heat
cracked.
from lean?
It's from the super hot exhaust temperature. So if you just put in more gas, it cools it down. Anyway,
fair.
so I know the injectors are good. In fact, I double checked them because I took the injector, I took a positive lead from my battery and plugged it into the positive side of the injector. It goes, I'm like, okay, cool. Injector did open and close. I heard it click.
They should always have positive voltage.
Well, you
on
know,
the
positive,
ECU
positive, and
triggers.
no, I just pulled it off to just bench test it.
Oh,
I did.
sure. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
I just bench tested it.
Gotcha.
It did, in fact, open and close.
Okay.
So this is correct.
Okay.
I've narrowed it down to the train is coming behind
There is a
me.
train coming.
Choo-choo.
There's a train. Yay, train time.
It's probably
1
the
second.
wrong way though.
No, it's going out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yay, train time.
Earlier today, one
Train
went the other
time,
way. Oh,
train
it's only
time.
one locomotive.
Wow.
Sports train, 2 locomotives.
Oh, it's a double sports train.
That thing could probably go fast.
He's just doing that recreationally.
Yeah.
I want that to be my life. Recreationally driving locomotives.
That sounds very fun. But anyway, so
God.
There's gonna be train days at the James J. Hill House.
That
yes,
sounds really good. I like all of those things
Yeah.
you just said.
You should tell us more about that off air.
I
Yes.
will.
But yeah, so I definitely like injectors are for sure good. Everything except for the
So
wiring
the
harness
ECU
was good.
is not firing through the.
Yeah, and
the harness then.
and so, God, I hope it's not the ECU. No, it's not the
No, but
ECU
the
because
harness.
yes, I was say I know it's not the ECU because the instrument panel, everything works on it as it should. And when the instrument panels go out, it's usually the ECU that goes out that kills the instrument panel. And so, if there was a problem with the ECU, the first thing it does is it actually breaks your tachometer.
Do you have a
Yes, I wouldn't
test
know.
light? I mean, you could try hooking the ground side of that up to the trigger wire on your actual injector plug.
So this is the thing. I
Yeah.
pulled the sheathing back on the injectors.
Yeah.
They were all the wires, all those copper wires. They're absolutely the greenest thing I've ever seen in my
Great.
life.
That's what you want.
So
That's really good for connectivity.
Now I know what the problem is.
Ah.
It needed a wiring harness.
And the harness you're getting is okay, presumably.
Because it's from the Pacific Northwest. And
So no salt.
it's
Great.
No salt, no nothing bad. Everything's gonna be nice and supple. So I'm so excited. I actually asked him, I'm like, how supple is your wiring harness? He says it's supple.
So,
And he actually pulled it out. He showed it to me, and I have a photo of the wiring harness.
so he pulled out his supple harness and sent you a photo of it.
He sent me a photo of his supple harness. Yes, let me show you the photo of the supple harness. I'm very excited. The guy's name is David. He's a very nice man.
I'm
he's been-
so excited to look at David's supple harness.
This is David's supple harness.
Damn, that looks really good. That's a big harness.
It's insane.
It's huge.
this is only half of it. He goes, which half would you like? I said, I'll take the engine side half because there's another half that's behind the dashboard that if that ends up being a problem, I'm not taking the dashboard out of this.
There will be 2 GL10 part outs in the country at that
If
point.
that happens, this is getting a different engine. Yes, I'm not parting this one out because I'm upside down on it. I don't like being upside down on my cars, and if I'm upside down, I own it. So with this GL10, if this wiring harness does not fix the engine is going into some guy's ultralight and he's gonna fucking kill himself with it. I don't care, not my problem. And then I'm gonna either put in a rotary or some sort of V8 or something, just a not Subaru engine.
Something that operates.
Yeah, it's to be a not Subaru engine.
Very good.
So
we did threaten to kidnap Darren and make him figure out the current wiring
Darren said he would do
harness.
it gladly because he just likes doing that.
Yeah, but I said that I would kidnap him, and he was like, "Oh, it's
It'd just
fun."
be fun.
It's like that would also work, I suppose.
Yeah,
Got it.
because I assumed.
Is it a
you would
kidnapping
have
if it's
to-
voluntary? Like,
I
Let's
just
not read into
assumed-
semantics, okay? We're gonna kidnap you.
Yeah, I just assumed that's what I would have to do to get anybody to even go near this car.
Correct.
But he was like, "No, this seems fun." But now there's a new one.
so yeah, now that I've got a wiring harness that I've found, that made me feel like I'm like, cool. I can actually do something with the Subaru. It's gonna be fun. And so I'm like, that also drives me to get the Cressida. Do the one thing the Cressida needs to make it drive. So I put the Cressida up on jack stands.
Very good.
So
That
I
is
can-
one step. Getting that momentum going is I can relate to
Yep.
how difficult that is.
No, the only reason I haven't done anything more on is I had to give my lawnmower a tune-up, and that was my evening yesterday was tuning up the lawnmower as opposed to
Nice.
yeah. I had to get old gas out of it, and I cleaned off the spark plug. I checked the oil. The oil's wet. It's fine.
It's got oil in it.
Yeah,
It's like those old start videos of like diesels that have been sitting in fields for 40 years. The
Yeah.
guy's like, got oil.
Yep,
Let's
basically.
go start it.
Yeah, I checked the oil. I'm like, huh, that looks a little gassy. I smell it, and I go, that smells like two-stroke oil. All right.
Hold a lighter up to it. Yeah,
All
it's,
right.
it's fine. Mine has 10W60 TWS in it because when I bought the mower, that's the only engine oil I had in my garage.
Perfect. That's good.
It's probably fine.
Mine will probably have Valvoline,
Whatever you
38
have,
or
yeah,
whatever is
correct.
on hand. Yeah. So, but yeah, the Cresta will be getting going soon. So I actually have project cars that I'm working on again, and they're all things I don't need to buy things for because I just needed my time, and I now have it.
I feel that so hard because I have, I think, at least 3 cars that all the parts that need for the one thing that's wrong with them, they're all here.
Yeah, like literally the only thing the Cresta quote unquote needs is I need to get some valve cover gaskets because I repainted the valve covers. That's all.
It has multiple valve cover gaskets?
Yeah, there's one for each camshaft.
Oh, so it's like a Jag.
It's just like a Jag, yes. Very cool.
Ooh, I didn't know they had individual cam covers.
There you go. Now you know.
Okay.
Anyway,
So you're familiar with the Kia boys, correct?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And in fact, I know you are because we talked about auto insurance and why the Mirage was a better choice for Johnny than a Fiat 500 because they're cheaper to insure.
Yes.
So I'm going to go back and use that as a flimsy excuse to talk about Hyundai Kia, acknowledging that insuring their cars is becoming a huge issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. My coworker couldn't insure their car because they just moved from Florida, and when they finally retitled it to Minnesota, their insurance dropped them.
I believe that.
Yep.
Get this, though. Hyundai Kia has partnered with AAA to insure those cars via the manufacturer. But the best part of this entire story is they're still not giving people the fix for the immobilizer, which they've developed, but they make people pay for.
What?
So
That's a
they're
lawsuit waiting to happen.
partnered with an insurance company,
This is the worst
acknowledging tacitly that there is a huge problem and nobody can insure these cars, or if they can, it costs way too much.
Yeah.
But they also, at the same time, won't give people the fix to stop the issue of people being able to steal their cars with no effort.
This absolutely smells like a lawsuit. Fuck Hyundai. They're terrible. This is the worst company.
I didn't make, but I strongly suggested my sister sold her Kia when she moved to St. Paul, and she
Yes.
agreed.
Okay.
And she did.
But she got a HRV, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's
Just don't get hit.
At least it doesn't get stolen, though.
Correct.
yeah, and now she lives in Bloomington, so
And also, the HRV was totally fine when they made it. The crash test standards were at 30 miles an hour, not 45. and with a Mirage-sized
Just get
vehicle,
hit at
and not
30 then.
not an HRV-sized vehicle.
But
just make
people-
sure if you're gonna get T-boned, it's to be by a small car at low speed. Yes.
But I told her to do
Big
that.
brain.
And then
It's so simple. I've been doing it wrong all these years. I've been getting hit by big shit way too high up.
that
Yeah,
was
well-
like just on the
Can't do that.
I told her to do this right on the precipice. Like there'd only been like 1 or 2 TikToks, right, that had made the rounds of the Kia boys. I was like, get out of it now.
Yep.
And she did. And then like 2.5 years later, when it's a big problem, we were downtown one night at the Nicollet Diner, and we were taking the route I take home all the time, and we drive past
A Sorrento.
a
Kia
Sorrento
yeah.
with the alarm going off, and we're like, oh, somebody at the hotel obviously got locked out of their rental, no big deal. It all of a sudden did a
Cuts us off, goes in the middle of the road, does a donut, starts driving at us in oncoming traffic, swerves out of the way at the 11th hour. Yeah. And
I
then
pick up the phone and call 911 because I was like, oh, that's
To be honest, that could be the owner of the Sorrento driving.
no, it wasn't.
Okay, all right.
I'm telling you for a fact, it was a Kia boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised.
and then
I thought it
we're
was only
and
the
then we
sedans that
get
had this.
we get oh no, it's all Kias, including Stingers.
Ooh, very good. Oh, I want to borrow a Stinger.
No, you can. They're free.
Because
For
you
you
know they
Stinger.
haven't paid to fix the problem.
Yeah. So anyway, we go a couple blocks over, and we're getting on 6th Street, and then that Sorrento is again driving 70 miles an hour, wrong way down traffic,
Very good.
swerving between all the lanes at 70 in downtown Minneapolis.
Good.
Yeah, more than highway speed. Anyway, so that's what happens with those vehicles. I
It took
was
3
independently driving in downtown about a month later.
Ah,
Saw another Sorrento.
interesting.
And then I go into Starbucks. I get out of Starbucks. And then I see that Sorrento drive the wrong way down traffic going 70 miles an hour. I go, they're at it again.
The dude lives downtown, no longer needs a car payment. 'Cause
No.
There's always a Kia nearby. And
Exactly.
you can just have that one.
If your car ever gets repoed, find your neighbor's Hyundai.
We rent a property that it was our former shop building. We rent it to a repo company.
Yeah?
There's a lot of Hyundai Kia products in that lot.
Shocking. I'm not shocked.
Also, a lot of Q5s in there.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's
Yeah.
very interesting to get a snapshot of what the most repo. A lot of Mopars.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. It's very interesting to kind of look at the type of vehicle. Sorry, I'm still fighting through this.
No, that's right. So, have you ever heard of the battery nail test?
Not by that name, anyway.
It is a test where you
actually,
take
yes,
a
I have. Yeah,
battery
yeah.
and you shove a nail through it
Yeah, you puncture it.
Oh,
with a nail, an electrically conductive nail.
okay.
Oh, it's a YouTube video. I don't know if I can play that.
You can. It's very short, actually.
Hold on.
It's only a minute long.
Well, keep talking about it. I'll get there.
So BYD, Build Your Dreams,
Yes.
they have a new battery style, which is, you probably know the difference between them. It is the NCM battery, or it's the BYD Blade battery. That's what it is.
I would need to know the chemistry, but yeah, it's probably, if it's a blade battery, it's probably a prismatic.
It's a graphite or whatever.
Ooh, interesting. Oh, okay, so it's the
It's-
new type of lithium iron phosphate that doesn't
yeah,
use
lithium
cobalt.
ion. Yeah, it's the phosphate, the non-cobalt one. So here's a normal lithium battery. You can also play this at more than full speed, and you'll see that this is not handling that well.
No, that
That-
reached 600 degrees Celsius.
Yep, and that exploded
That-
in a very large way.
That is the best firework I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's the battery nail test.
Also, what a great machine. Can we just talk about this machine?
yeah, machine just exists to shove a nail through batteries.
That's great.
That's it. That's
Perfect.
a
Hey,
dream
man,
job.
What do you do? Yeah, I just puncture batteries all day.
So now, if we watch the BYD battery,
Yes.
you can probably just fast forward to here. All right. You see that the nail is through the battery. No, just keep going. It is through the battery.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Do you see that it is distinctly not on fire
I do. Nor
And
it has not bulged or deformed either.
or done anything weird? So,
it's almost like it's inert.
yeah. And so if you go to the end of this video, the last couple minutes.
Yes.
Let's see.
The
Oh,
last
this
couple
they
seconds.
didn't have it in this one. They took that exact battery
Yeah.
and they put it into a car
Okay.
at an auto show and drove the car off the ramp.
On purpose.
And just drove it back out of the building to show
Oh, that it was still functional.
It was still a perfectly functional battery with a hole in it.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, like it was literally like they had the guy like
I mean, that kinda
at the
makes
press
sense,
thing.
so-
He like holds it up and like takes a flashlight and shines it through the hole so you can see that there's most definitely a hole through this battery.
Did they hire David Blaine to do this?
No, they
presentation?
didn't.
They should have.
And then they
Lost
I
opportunity.
know.
they had like a 4-post lift and they put the car up on a 4-post lift and they had some technicians swap the battery, the broken battery, into the car.
It's honestly more impressive that they were able to
While-
get technicians to
Yeah.
swap a cell.
Well, it was like like a concept car or something, whatever. Like the car was obviously prepped to have a solitary battery in it. It was for just a demonstration purpose. But
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
yeah.
So
But
way-
they
way
were
over-
describing like how the new battery technology works while they did this in the background. It took them like 10 minutes to do it. And then at the end of the presentation, the presenter gets into the car, starts it, and drives it off the stage and out of the building.
That's very impressive because
That's insane.
so the much more stable chemistry is probably why it doesn't catch on fire, but the fact that it still operated
Mm-hmm.
after it had failed is way more impressive because that looked like a pouch cell, but those usually to get a nominal voltage of like 3.7, there's 5 layers
Yeah.
of like chemicals that really don't like each other. That's how batteries store energy, and then there's a non-conductive membrane, but usually when you puncture a battery, some of that anode material pushes through the membrane
Yeah.
into the cathode material, and that causes a big fire like we saw with that first battery.
And not with this one.
Genuinely curious how they did that because
So
it must just like go inert the instant
from
it touches
what
the thing.
I understand, I watched a thing on Deutsche Welle, and Deutsche Welle is really weird about copyright. So
Yes, they
we
are.
Don't we
Thank
don't
you.
play their videos anymore.
Deutsche Welle for copywriting
But
us.
apparently, the batteries are, like how like 18650s are individual cells within a larger group.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, where those have like a bunch of like individual cells.
Okay.
So if one cell fails, you still have the rest of the battery. It's more or less fine.
kinda
It's
nice.
just you have lower range now.
Right.
And so that's kind of how, from what I understand, how it works. But I think that's absolutely fantastic because BYD just basically checkmated every single person that said, "Yeah, electric cars are great, but they're not safe."
What about everyone that posts
Oh.
every article about EVs catching on fire
Yeah.
to EV groups?
You mean my parents' neighbors in Florida who lectured me on EV cars? And
Yeah.
hurricanes?
My parents.
And so-
yeah, my parents even did that.
Yeah,
they're
and
pretty
so-
well-educated people.
There you go. There's a car where it's not a problem anymore.
They're in Vietnam right now, by the way.
Oh, fun.
We're in Vietnam. Oh, we'll talk about where they
Okay,
are for my last topic. But let's talk about yours first.
Southeast, I guess. All right, so there is a whole bunch of federal funding going through with EV infrastructure, but also tax credits are changing. And up until just about a week ago, and this note is not as new as it was when I put it in there, but it had been pretty much as clear as mud. So now there's actually a list of what is and is not eligible for the full tax credit.
Nice.
And since this was announced, Chevrolet has announced that they are killing the Bolt and the Bolt EUV.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So, okay, but the Bolt is like the only good EV they make, because
Yeah.
everything else is like a CUV. They make like 80 different flavors of crossover, and apparently every one of them is now electrified. But the Bolt, their whole point is they're switching battery chemistries, probably not to something as good as BYD's new battery.
No,
but they
absolutely,
can't
it's
keep
GM.
making the Bolt because the new battery tech doesn't fit in it,
Oh.
which seems like baloney.
That
But
does seem like baloney.
the
It's the
full-
whole you need a bigger car to be safer.
Oh my God! Yeah, just don't crash into an HRV. But the list of vehicles that are eligible for the full $7,500, so the original amount tax credit, is the Lyriq, the Blazer, the Bolt EUV, the Equinox, the Silverado, the F-150 Lightning. Get this, the Model 3 Performance, which is surprising because I thought it had to be an SUV, Tesla Model Y, and the US-built ID4, which is probably already caught on fire, so don't have to worry about that. You can also get, and get this, a Pacifica plug-in hybrid minivan. Good. You can get the full $7,500 tax credit on a plug-in
That's cool.
hybrid,
Weird.
which is
All right.
I didn't.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean,
then
that's the one I'm
Aviator,
getting.
But I really like the Pacifica plug-in. I think it's
Pacific is just a great vehicle. So, speaking of your parents being in Vietnam,
yes. That's a good segue.
are they in Nha Trang?
Let me look, because we have that whole stalker find my friends thing in my entire
Hell yeah.
family. So while I load this
While
up,
you're doing that, I want to talk about VINfast's parent company, VINgroup. and how incredibly dystopian VINfast and everything about this company is. I can't love them enough. Like, this is my new favorite, like, corporate, like, nightmare conglomerate. Like, this is like Umbrella Corp, or like any of the corporations from Cyberpunk.
They're not on land right now.
They're pretty close to Nha Trang, though. They're on a boat.
They're doing land excursions.
They're on a boat. Yes, but Nha Trang is basically the nearest city to where they are.
Okay. Yeah, southeast.
Yep.
Vietnam.
So yeah, they are in Nha Trang. Are they at VinLand?
Not at the moment.
Are they going to the Vin Pearl Resort?
I could maybe tell them to go to some place like that.
If you understand that VinLand and Vin Pearl Resort sound a hell of a lot like the first three letters of VINfast, it's because they're all part of VINgroup. And VINgroup has a subsidiary called VinWonders, which is incredible. And
I see what you mean about dystopian and like, fantastical now.
Because they own resorts, and these resorts are like all over Vietnam. They're the largest conglomerate in Vietnam, if I did not say that previously. But now, if you asked an AI image generator to make photos of a Asian mega conglomerate owned theme park at their own resort,
oh my God.
What do you think it would look like? Would it look like this?
It looks like Roller Coaster Tycoon, but with better graphics.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible. But this is real life. And they actually have... Oh, if you keep scrolling through before you get to that one, to access VinLand, which is owned by subsidiary VinWonders,
Okay.
You have to take a cable car to get there. And these cable cars, if you scroll down on Google, are... you get out of the photo and then scroll down on Google, you will see that there are cable cars that are shaped on pylons, shaped like light up. Nope, keep going down. Not this photo. You're going to see it right there. The ones that look like little Eiffel Towers, because those are Eiffel Tower shaped cable car pylons across the ocean to get to the island in which VinLand is on.
And it's got the Hollywood sign
Yes.
lettering on the side of the mountain called Vin Pearl.
I can't love this enough. I need to go here. This is incredible.
I'm totally down to go to Vietnam.
This is like literally... You couldn't write this in Cyberpunk and have people take it seriously. It is so dystopian.
This is where we're all going to be in 5 years' time, trying to like, because AI looks for pattern recognition. We're trying to just not have any patterns in our life anymore. I'm like, the computer's not going to do. It's not going to believe this.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. So apparently when you're on a press trip to view Vinfast,
oh my God,
and they take you to VinPearl, you have a minder a la North Korea from the company.
Oh.
You have a corporate minder that follows you, and if you get off the beaten trail, the corporate minder will come find you and put you back in a car by force.
Yikes!
It's great. But anyway, the rest of Vietnam's awesome. I want to go there so fucking bad. It is my number one travel destination. But this is like absolutely incredible. I want to go to VinLand like so badly.
I'm down to go to Vinland as long as I can go look at the turbo diesel van tuned riverboats afterward.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and those are actually a little bit further down because those are from like the Mekong Delta.
That's fine, we can travel.
Which is closer to like Ho Chi Minh. And also it's like, we can just go
rent a Vespa.
buy
Buy
a totally restored Honda Super Cub
Yeah, but how do I ship that home?
in a crate.
Who does? Oh, we'll talk about this later.
Any crate. DHL. Like it's a Vespa. It's smaller than this table. This table came from China.
Still
which is
very, very likely, yes.
Which is very close to Vietnam. But so another cool thing about
I have connections there
about
for shipping.
the VINgroup. So I did not know this. I watched this. There's this really cool YouTube channel called Asianometry, which is all about like economic stuff.
Fuck's sake.
I know it's all about technology and economic stuff from Asia. It's absolutely fascinating.
That's so punny.
Well, it is really funny, but it's just a really cool like YouTube like documentary channel. It's like, hey, this is where Samsung came from.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And they had one on VINgroup.
The amount of people that think Samsung is Japanese is
incredible.
hilarious.
No, it's not, because
it's Korean.
Also, you can tell because it ends in a G with no vowel after it. The only letter you're ever getting in Japanese that doesn't have a vowel after it is N.
And the N word is forbidden.
Well, I mean, anyway, so, so the VINgroup actually started like in the 90s. They've only been around since 1991.
But is it like Fuji Heavy where they started doing something completely unrelated to cars? Or have they always done cars?
They've never done cars until recently. Yeah.
So
They
it's like-
started out as
gotcha.
So they started out
Did
when
they make
the...
backhoes?
No, they actually made
Television?
instant noodles for the Ukrainian market.
Ah!
And it started because the founder, Lethe, I think is his name.
I want to know that eureka moment in the company kitchen while
So
he's eating
this
his
is
own
the
product.
thing. He would make himself instant noodles, like homemade instant noodles,
Okay.
just to eat while he's in college.
Like
Because
delicious.
they're delicious, and you can just put them in your backpack, right? So he would make them and he'd give them
Preferably
out to,
uncooked.
yeah, and he would give them to his friends uncooked. Yeah, no, seriously, like uncooked with
Yep.
like some chili seasoning on them. He'd give them to his friends. His friends loved him, and they're like, "Can we buy some?" He's like, "Sure." And it's kind of like how like MA Performance started from Chris Carey, like selling like blow-off valves out of his
Yeah.
closet.
Yep.
That's how VINfast and VINgroup started. Is he was selling instant noodles out of his dorm, and it got so big that he was going to school for economics for one of his economics classes. He sent over some machinery to industrially make them and put it in a warehouse, and hired some friends in Ukraine to run the machinery, like when they
Also,
were in
they
between
made
class.
Ukraine. Okay.
Yeah, well, he made it in the for the Ukrainian market.
Sure.
And so they started out making instant noodles for the Ukrainian market because nobody was importing them.
Sure.
And everybody loved him. And everybody in Ukraine became the biggest instant noodle company in Eastern Europe. After that, I know, it's incredible.
That's not where I expected this
No,
car company to
no,
start.
absolutely not. Instant noodles for the Eastern European market in the post-Soviet economy because everybody was poor and everybody loved it. And you could just eat them dry. And they were great.
I've been eating instant noodles lately. It's great.
Yeah, they're awesome. And so, he made his instant noodles in Ukraine. Still does, actually. They still have their subsidiary in Ukraine. It's in Lviv, I think. And they still make them, and they're actually huge. And they now have plants they started to reverse importing them back to Vietnam because they're so popular.
I've never heard of captive market noodles before. This is
But
great.
yeah, and so he started growing the company because he's like, okay, well, I need to ship these. So he started just, buying trucks to ship things around between his factories.
Yeah.
And then he had all this money he needed to invest. He invested them into apartment buildings and stuff. And so one day after his company's nascent, it's $1 million enterprise at this point. And, his company was about the size like MA Performance today, making these instant noodles for the Ukrainian market, pretty popular. And he had some money he could invest, and he went to Nha Trang to visit family. He realized there isn't a single 5-star hotel in this city, and look at where we are. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. And so he made the first 5-star hotel resort in Nha Trang,
So
and
he
that
has a history
eventually,
of completely pivoting.
yeah.
the
And so,
business.
and he did that because he was just there. He's like, yeah, I think I should do this, and I've got the money to do it because I make these instant noodles for college. And so it's incredible. But this is why I'm this is such a ridiculous company. And it's this mega corporation conglomerate that's totally dystopian. But it's all started from some dude that was selling instant noodles out of his college dorm.
I'm happy to know that the first pivot wasn't instant noodles to cars.
No,
it's done this a bunch
no,
of times.
he's instant noodles shipping
Hotels.
resorts. Then he owned supermarkets for a little bit. He spun off. He sold the supermarket business to make a school. Yeah, that's what he did. He sold off the supermarket business to pay for a nonprofit school system in Nha Trang.
Okay.
And so you can go to VINgroup owned private schools, charter schools.
Do they have vending machines with the noodles there?
I imagine, yes.
Very good.
There's probably a cafeteria with just their instant noodles.
Perfect.
But the reason he did that is he wanted to be able to have a school system that would prepare you for college in other countries outside of Vietnam. Super cool.
Yeah.
It's actually a really rad company. And it's totally ridiculous because like they're absolutely dystopian in that like you can't disagree with them, but at the same time like they also have like good roots. Like
I know it's like
I
it's
don't know
so
what
wholesome, but also the way they got there is just weird.
yeah, it's like I don't know what to think about this company. Like, and that's why I'm just so fascinated with them. Is they're just like, what is going on here? Like,
So you're gonna go on all the factory tours. Got it.
yes, I want to have an entire VINgroup themed vacation to Vietnam, in addition to an actual vacation to Vietnam. But I want to do
Welcome
both.
to Vietnam.
Vietnam, yes, that's what it's going to be. So there you go. Now you know that VINfast and why I'm so interested in this ridiculous company. So we will.
That is actually pretty helpful because when we first brought up the VinFast CUV electric thing,
yeah, you were like, "What is going on?"
Like,
yeah.
I love Vietnam, but like,
What? Yeah, no, this is a ridiculous company. It is
see.
an absolutely bonkers company. And that's the thing is like, whenever there's a company that comes out of nowhere and they can make a car.
Yeah. Well, and it's a knockdown of a Chinese thing that's already made.
Yeah, but like,
still.
if there's ever a company that I've not heard of that can just go ahead and make a car, that's not something you just do lightly. You don't just like
realize Tesla did that, right?
no, they did that because Elon Musk had an assload of money that he invested.
Right, but they just made a car company and started
Yes.
making cars out of nowhere.
But they had a bunch of money that came together. So where did that money come from?
Probably VinFast.
Yeah, but yeah,
Noodles,
instant
Ryan.
noodles, yeah, instant noodles for the
I'm
SoCal
gonna go
economy.
read the back of all the packages of U.S. made instant
It's
noodles.
all
I
gonna
bet
say
it's gonna be
Tesla.
SpaceX or
it's
Tesla.
all
or
it's
some
all gonna be
shit.
Tesla Corp. But like that's the thing is like that money needed to come from somewhere. I knew that VinFast was owned by a company called VINgroup, which I thought was hilarious. And I'm like, what is going on here? And it's just like one dude's like
And then
pet
you pull
project.
up this flow chart, and it's just like 80 different Vin things all spidered
Yes,
together.
it's incredible. I'm very excited about this company.
Yeah, vehicle identification number.
Fast. Yeah, vehicle identification.
I
number
need that
group.
Vin fast.
Ha!
You're welcome for the marketing
Slapper. All right.
thing.
Well, we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.